Hey there, welcome back to Owl Dragon Adventures. I'm Scott Kegler.
And I'm Rob MacPherson.
And this is our top 5 anticipated games of 2023. So this is a more casual video. We just wanted to talk about our top 5 games that we'll be getting in our hands for this year, or anticipate. We say that because actually some of these games were actually from 2022 that just did not.
And one of my games is slated for December of 2023, so we'll see.
Yeah, so this is what we will hopefully get in hands this year. We had just done our video of our top 10 games of 2022, so definitely go check that out. But this is just what we're looking for on the road ahead this year. With that, we'll start with our number 5. My number 5 is actually the Fox Experiment. I don't want to say actually there, but it's because it was a game that I've already played a lot of. I actually ran demos of it for Pandasaurus at Gen Con for many, many hours.
Yep.
So I've got a lot of gameplay of it, but I'm still excited to get it in hand. Final production copy of it. I ended up backing it when it came out in October. I think the campaign was September, October. Just very excited to get that complete version in hand. I found it to be this great, a little bit heavier than family weight game, but just in that perfect range. And I think last year had a lot of that type of content, so I'm excited to have a game like that coming out. Yep. Love the art. I think it's fantastic, and I think it's going to be an accessible game to get to the table as almost like a gateway game.
Yeah, I still got to play it. I'm hoping it's still up on Tabletop Simulator. I can go and poke around on it on there, but if not, I guess I will wait until you get it.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be, late Q3, early Q3, I think.
That sounds right, yeah.
So I'm very excited for the Fox Experiment by Pandasaurus.
Yep. Cool. So my number 5 is going to be Arcs by Leader Games.
Nice.
So we love Leader Games at our table. Root, Vast, Fort, Oath. So what I really like about Arcs is that, first of all, it's a space-based game, which always intrigues me. I love their artwork on it. It looks really cool, really quirky sci-fi. Right. But then it's taking the campaign elements from Oath and improving them and adding them into Arcs. So it's, by campaign elements, I mean, just the way that one game ends influences the way your next game begins and kind of flows. And then it doesn't... So it's not like a legacy game where it's destructive, but it just kind of, it twists and turns a little bit. So you never have the same two
arcs,
games.
You might say?
There are arcs, yeah. And on that, let's go on to our number 4s.
Dead jokes. All right, number 4s. So my number 4 is Bloodstones, which is a game that's coming out from Wallace Designs. It is a fantasy-based war game. And I know there's a million of those, but what I really like about this one is the tactile experience of this game, because Bloodstones are actually all the units, and what you use to take actions are the same pieces. So the units are the action pieces of the game, and they're all tiles.
With like the really this isn't the one that had like the really medieval type sculpts, like the busts.
No. So there's like a kind of I would almost call it like a Celtic design.
Okay.
In a lot of the stones, they're basically these like resin chips, like rectangular chips that are both the units and how you take actions with the units, which is really interesting. Okay. And I love the look of the game. And I love that simplicity of like, do I want to put a lot of them out and not be able to move them much or do much with them? Or do I put only a few out and save my actions too?
Oh, so it's got a little bit of like a war chest.
A little bit. And you're because you're drawing back from a bag and like that. It's similar in that way. But there's
cool.
It's just, I love everything about the look of the game. Very excited. I actually haven't played Mark Wallace, I believe, or was it Matt Wallace? I apologize. Correct me below. I'm an idiot. We'll put a little correction here. But I haven't played any of his other games, but I know he's a lot of support, a lot of fans for his game. So I'm just excited to try it out. Love the look of it, and I'm always willing to try out a new, interesting take on an area control war game.
Nice. So my number 4 is going to be the new game from Mind Clash Games. It's going to be Septima.
Oh, nice.
So they have billed Septima as their, from their main series of games, their most accessible game. Now, from Mind Clash, that is saying next to nothing. I love Mind Clash games. They are some of the most complex games out there. They might hold the crown for the publisher with the highest average weight of games, because they do beat out Chip Theory.
Yeah. I mean, and they don't have an insane amount of
no, they
in their
don't.
catalog,
So
but they're all
exactly,
like 4.
yeah.
A lot of them are all 4+.
Yeah, absolutely. But so they're promising that this one is lighter. All the people that I've seen play it at conventions say that it's a much more accessible game, much lighter game. It's a competitive strategy style game where you are competing with your coven of witches to become the High Witch. From what I understand about it, one of the cool things is that it doesn't use a lot of like witch stereotypes, like the Salem witch stereotypes. It's so it's not like, boiled newts and the Eye of Toad or anything like that. So it's much more, I guess, sensitive to the topic, the subject matter. Okay. But at the same time, like you're doing things to create respect and to get respected and become the High Witch. So it's a really cool take on that. It's a fun theme, and I'm really hoping that I can get it to the table with my
It definitely has a very catchy cover art I saw. I don't know much about the game, but I saw a bunch of it at, I don't know if it was Gen Con or PAX. It was like all over the place. Both, so, yeah. So very attractive looking game anyways. Yep. Excellent. Number 3. My number 3 is it's actually a kind of a sequel or a variant game in the series of the Hoplomachus series by Chip Theory, and that is their new solo only game, Hoplomachus Victorum. We've talked about it before on the channel. We're both huge Chip Theory fans. Going back to like my last pick, another heavily tactile driven game is this adventure campaign where you are a gladiator, a group of gladiators going around and competing in various feats throughout this little campaign. The components look excellent. You got to see a lot of it with Chip Theory at PAX Unplugged.
No, they didn't have it at PAX
I thought you saw it there.
No, they had it at Gen Con.
Gen Con, that's what it was.
We saw it at Gen Con. I was actually very disappointed. I worked Chip Theory, and they were like, we're not going to bring it to that. I'm like, cool.
So I missed but it's a very attractive game. I don't want to spend too much on it, but it looks great. I love the solo features of the 3 previous actually, Hoplomachus games.
I'm sad I did not get the metal dice.
I did.
But I am happy because my campaign tracker, I did get the neoprene mat where you can stab swords into it.
I got that too.
Yeah. Did you get the drawbag?
I think so. I could be mistaken. But I'm very excited for that one. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it looks awesome. So, yeah.
That's my number 3.
Copy, paste.
Victoria.
Yep. So, yeah. That should be here soon.
It should be here soon.
2 weeks-ish.
I know people started getting their fulfillments end of last year, technically.
Yeah, we're on the pre-order list, not the Kickstarter list.
So we're putting it in 2023 for us. And I think most people that had to pre-order it, just everything we already said, gorgeous game.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so nice, easy. Those are my number 3.
Yeah, this is number 2.
Yep.
Number 2, most anticipated game. We've actually talked about this game a lot, because I know it's your number 2 as well. It is a smaller publisher. This is a game by Precarious Games called Velocity Vanguard.
Yep.
This was one that early last year we both, like, with a fiery passion, were like,
2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago? 2020?
It's 2021. That's 2 years ago now.
Well, you know what I mean. It's all the same. Time is meaningless now.
We're doing our most anticipated of 2023 video because we are in
2023.
There it is.
But anyways, we backed this early 2021, or I think like March or April 2021.
Yeah.
And we were like, and it was actually the second time this campaign came up.
Because we were so nervous about the campaign.
That it wasn't going to fulfill.
This was early in our Kickstarter days, before we knew the ways.
Yeah, before we did a ton of these. And I love everything about this game. We've played it now at conventions. It is basically, for me, it's this spiritual successor upgrade for me from like X-Wing, like Star Wars X-Wing, where it's a tactics space battle game that also includes actual velocity mechanics in space, where you have to think about what is my velocity and direction as I'm trying to make this turn, because I'm already sure I can start turning, but I have all this velocity that is momentum going in one direction.
So you have to kill your momentum in one direction before you can do it, and it actually uses hex-based movement, so it's fairly vector-based. Like they did a good job. It works a lot better than if they had tried to do it with
so it feels very just I guess it's still space battle, it's still science fiction, but it just has a little bit more of that realism there. And the mechanic to me just works so well and is so much fun.
Yeah.
Like so we did a couple missions where we did like just docking your ship, and
the orbital mechanic almost crashed into an asteroid.
Right. Yeah, and the designer got a kick out of that because we're at the table with him. But like, just docking your ship was like, this was actually kind of hilarious and exciting because you're like, just don't crash because you have to come in
at one velocity.
Of one velocity, so you have to kind of get there as fast as you can and beat everyone else, but like get in there safely. And then we did an actual combat mission, which was so much fun because we both love tactics, and I really love that kind of a game.
Yeah,
it just
so we have a ton of content coming for this game.
Too much.
And I'm going to be buying a new shelf.
Yeah, I was
soon.
just to store all my Velocity Vanguard because we both kind of went ham on that.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited, and
that's
I know
my number 2 as well.
And that's supposed to come out this year, hopefully. March.
Yeah.
Very excited for that. We'll probably put some content on it because I think this game needs some love. This publisher needs some love.
Yeah.
Really, you can feel everything.
They'll do some actual plays of that.
Yeah, so much fun. So that's number 2 for both of us, Velocity Vanguard. Number 1. Do you want to go first this time? Because I feel like I'm talking too much.
Sure. So my number 1 game that I'm most looking forward to is going to be Solar 175 by Cogito Ergo Meeple. It is a legacy-style space campaign game with bag-built components for the worker placement. So, like, they took every mechanic that I love, and they're into one game. They've been teasing us with just the components as they're upgrading them and getting them made and everything. They are... I think the last update said they were packing them and getting them ready to get onto the boats. I might be mistaking a couple of my Kickstarters. I have 1 or 2 or 26.
26 each right now.
Yep. But I'm almost positive that one's going on the boat. So I think that should be here early March because, 6 weeks, blah, blah, blah. I'm just so excited for that one. It looks so good. It is a legacy game. I think it's a non-destructive legacy game. So it's a legacy-like game.
Yeah.
Which means that I will definitely be tearing through that solo. I will be playing that solo on the channel here, but I am sure I will make you guys play that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I will always try those. For us, and I have no problem with campaign games. I think the reality is just...
And 99% of the time, if I say to Scott, there's a couple of themes. I'm like, hey, Scott, you want to play a space game? He's like, okay, twist my arm.
Yeah. Well, it's the hours in the day kind of thing. Like, I love campaign games, but you can only get to so many of them.
Yep.
So you can hear probably Rob's dogs right now barking upstairs. But
yeah, you absolutely can.
Which is perfect because my number 1 game anticipated for 2023 is Beast.
Which there's probably something in my backyard right now.
Okay, so Beast is by Studio Midhall. It was supposed to be out and delivered already at the end of 2022.
Yep.
Unfortunately for them, they had a horrible mishap in the production with glue that leaked into the boxes.
No, it's the glue that they used. If I'm understanding it correctly, it's the glue they used to layer their cards together because the cards are layers of cardboard, paper. So the glue that they used for that was either a bad batch or a bad chemical or something happened, and
when it got to Korea, they noticed there was damaged games.
It was real bad.
Yeah, so they had to pull everything, stop their fulfillment process, let everybody know, and they're correcting it. So good, awesome on them for getting it done.
Yeah, the factory I understood it took responsibility for it, and they got it reprinted real quick. I think the turnaround of the reprint was like 2 weeks, which is nuts.
So I think it's supposed to be starting to ship in February.
Yeah.
Now it was supposed to be out like November, December, but so a pretty good turnaround on that. Actually, Victorium had a horrible problem too.
Yeah, they had something with the chips and the glue on the chips,
and
right?
the dice too. There was like a misprint on the dice.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like that was like so. There was like a whole thing with core boxes. But Beast, I'm very excited for. Is one of my favorite mechanics is hidden movement. So one player is playing this mythical beast that the other players are hunters, and you're kind of trying to evade capture and level up your beast, while the players are also leveling up their hunters as they're pursuing you. Just everything about it I love.
If you played the video game 5-6 years ago now, Evolve, it's the board game version of that. I swear, and maybe the publisher will come on here or designer will come out here and tell me one way or the other, but I swear that they played that game like, all right, so the video game version of this is not doing very well. But you know what I bet would sell really well?
The board game of it. But
And I'm super excited for it.
And I love the art. I love the art of the game. I love the look, everything about it. It's just and they've had I think their communication has been great as a publisher. Yeah. I'm excited to see what other games they come out with.
I'm very excited for that one too. It does something that I think is a requirement in hidden movement games, which is it makes the non-hidden movement side of it, so the hunters in this case, it gives them more to do than just find the beast. Like there's level up requirements for them and everything. They have tech trees. Yeah, they have stuff that they can do.
I think there's also
more than just.
I think there's also something interesting with the mechanic of like the beast. One of the things he does is by killing villagers around and killing livestock. So he physically takes them off of the board. So you're like, oh, he just ate a sheep in this town,
right?
So like you have like some like there's a more steady influx of clues than I've seen in games like because it's been related to people saying it's going to unseat Fear of Dracula, potentially players that have already played it, because a lot of content creators got copies. We obviously are still growing, so we did not.
No hard feelings.
But very excited to try it out. Now, that was our top 5. There are still a ton of other games we're excited to see this year, which we'll get a chance to talk about. As we mentioned, we have about 26 each.
Hey, Scott.
What? Are we not recording?
No, we're recording.
Oh, God.
You know what? We forgot to take in. I don't think they would have to these lists, but our counts are off in terms of how many games we're anticipating.
What?
We have Game Crafter games coming.
Oh no, that's my 26 is.
I have 28 games in that.
I've got currently after everything that's already been fulfilled right now, I still have 17 games on Kickstarter, 5 games on 5 or 6 games on GameFound, and then I have my Game Crafter games, and then I also have like 2 pre-orders for. Power Plants and Victorum. So yeah, I'm 26, 27.
Sorry, I just made myself sad then.
We're still happy. It's still a lot, but we're still trying to slow down on the Kickstarters right now. But we still get review copies of games. Yep, it's going to be good. So hopefully you have some games you're excited about in 2023. We'd love to hear about them. So go ahead and leave a comment below if you like this video. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Yep.
As usual, I'll link all the games we just mentioned down below. Some of them still are available for pre-order or late pledges, so go ahead and hop on board those if any of them sound interesting.
Absolutely. And with that, we wish you good luck with all of your future board game adventures.
And thank you for joining us on ours.